here we go. Yay! Welcome back, everybody. Happy post-lunch awesomeness. I almost want to make everybody get up and jump around, but I think I'll do that after this one, just because we still got post-lunch jazz. So if you weren't here earlier, or if you missed it, my name is Izzy Nice, and I know that sounds like a question. I work for Metaverse Mod Squad, and we're obsessed with community. But today, we're about to jump into an awesome session with Tony Borden. He is the head of digital media for Lionel Trains, LLC. Tony's responsibilities include laying some strategy work for the overall company. He works on revitalizing the company's overall brand to create more relevance for a more expanded audience, with a priority on digital extensions. Tony has two boys, 9 and 12, and they're considered almost full-time built-in focus group testers, which I love. As he likes to say to his wife, they're just earning their keep. She, on the other hand, threatens to call the Department of Social Services, but you know the kids love it. Gosh, I wish I was a focus tester for some of this. Here you go, Tony. Thank you.
She threatens because she went really fast. Anyway. So thank you for coming. My name is Tony Borden. I am with Lionel. Just a show of hands, how many people have heard of Lionel? So how many people have heard of Lionel because they have had a past experience with their parents or grandparents? Show of hands. A lot of people. How many people have bought a Lionel train in the last couple of years? Aha. Okay, so I think that's why we're here. We're here to talk about how we could build some relevance in the brand and extend it onto multiple platforms like digital. But I thought I'd give you some context in terms of the project that I'm working with and tell you a little bit about Lionel and where they came from. Lionel's been around since 1900, so it's a 114-year-old company. Joshua Lionel Cohen designed this cute little interactive electric train in his gift shop window to show off some of the products that he was selling in the store. And people were really more interested in his train than the products that he was selling in his store. And so he essentially started Lionel Manufacturing Company, and the rest, as they say, is history. Lionel, at the turn of the century, or the millennium for that matter, there was actually a study done by the History Channel. Lionel was ranked as one of the top 100 most iconic brands of the 20th century. In fact, I think they were in the top 10, like right up there with Coke and some of the really big brands. I think if we had to do that same survey today, it may be a little bit different. Lionel has really gravitated more towards a sort of a model train enthusiast community. But they do a lot of things really well. For example, Lionel is really more about sort of replication rather than imagination. Over the years, they have made some great progress in terms of technology and replicating sound and movement and design. They've progressed to trains like this. The Boston Red Sox is no accident. I knew I was going to be in New York, and I just thought I would flaunt it in front of the New Yorkers and the audience. So we have made a lot of progress, but we have made progress within sort of the replication sort of mindset and play experience. And in addition, as model enthusiasts became more intrigued with replication, the ability to expand the Lionel experience rapidly grew. And over the years, the company has become more of a hobby-centric company, generally speaking. In the last few years, we're really trying to make more of an effort to expand to a younger audience, but really sort of within the kind of confines of replication. As everybody knows, the forces of the market have been changing. Digital devices are like the fork and spoon for kids today. And urbanization has really changed the way people live, and therefore challenge building model sets and modular sets, having the ability to actually have the room to lay out a modular train set has been really challenging. And in addition to that, the culture and play patterns of kids have changed dramatically, especially in the last 5 to 8 years, and in the advent of the digital revolution that we're actually going through. So how do we grow in the context of our new environment? I mean, the question really is, can Lionel extend to multiple platforms? Does the brand have the permission to extend onto multiple platforms? And can we use the brand and create more relevance in today's context around Lionel, and incorporate imagination and replication into our play experiences? So because of Lionel's heritage and the fact that they have been around for a while, we leave nothing to intuition and guess and hunch. We went through a lot of research and really tried to find out where the sort of connective tissue, if you will is between Lionel as it exists today and Lionel, the new relevant brand that can capture the hearts and minds of a younger cohort. So we had a quest to sort of develop a thesis around what the strengths and equities of the brand are, and examine the attributes around awareness, familiarity, favorability, and understand the brand's meaning, its strengths, and really what is behind Lionel's brand appeal, and really try and create sort of a relevant land grab to understand where the brand can essentially travel. And so, this may be a little bit of an eye chart and a little overkill, but essentially we went through a very robust research exercise, from quantitative surveys and focus groups right to ethnographic surveys where we had folks literally go into the houses of parents with kids and get down in the middle of the living room and really try and engage themselves in the play experiences that kids were having. We focus grouped, and we worked with folks who actually had model trains. We worked with folks who'd never heard of Lionel. A little tough to find these days, but we did, to really get some context and understanding as to what the new attributes to the brand will be, and how we can create that relevance and connectivity that we need to be able to expand the product plan and really capture a younger cohort going forward. The research had given us tons of data. I mean, we had lots of data points to be able to make decisions around how we move our product plan going forward. But the basic high notes were really, Lionel, in essence, had a tremendous amount of positivity as a brand. And it had a lot of positivity across a lot of varying platforms and a lot of varying play experiences. And so we saw, by boiling all of this down, that Lionel actually did have the permission underneath the strength of the brand to actually travel across lots of different platforms, mostly digital. I don't think we needed permission or validation to find out if Lionel can travel digitally. I mean, as my son reminds me, goldfish crackers are going digital. I mean, it's really a question of how you embrace the platform and how you really represent the brand and the play experience on a digital platform. So it was really no surprise that Lionel still had a massive amount of positivity. The slightly concerning piece of data that we did find out was that the brand awareness was really resonating with an older audience. If you look at this slide, you can see that there is a declining level of awareness as our demographic got younger. There's a slide before this that really ages down quite a bit, and Lionel and its brand awareness really starts to dry up. So we really need to understand, how we can reinvigorate that younger audience and have that audience travel through the brand and potentially be, the next sort of model enthusiast for us under a new relevant Lionel brand. Just to put this slide into context, this is where Lego and American Girls and Angry Birds sort of stack up. And we had a bunch of other sort of analysis on popular brands as well. And the bottom line is, at a 63% level of awareness, there are companies out there that would pay a small fortune to have an overall awareness level of 63% in their brand. Brands like Lego and Angry Birds, of course, they're very high, and Lego being sort of iconic in the toy business. We're right up there with American Girls, and so we really felt that we had a very strong foundation for not only basic brand awareness to be able to build our business and our brand around, but also the permission to really extend into other platforms to be able to create a more aggressive sort of position with our product planning process. As part of what had fallen from our research, and this may not come as much of a surprise to most of you, we currently have a product line that is sort of like a don't touch, very product specific. It's been passed down to generation. It's very defined and predictable, and it's very structured in its environment. And the play patterns today are not quite like that. I mean, play patterns today are much different. They're open-ended, they're boundless, they're more imaginative. I don't know if anyone here has seen the new Lego movie, which I think was probably one of the best animated movies I have ever seen. And, without giving the movie away, but I will a little. In the last 5 or 6 minutes, the movie became unanimated, and Will Ferrell comes downstairs into his basement, and he sees his son playing on his huge modular Lego set. I mean, he's got towers, he built a city, and his son took the liberty of disassembling a part of his very well-structured modular Lego city and started building these imaginary sort of characters out of parts of skyscrapers that Will Ferrell had put together. And through the course of this scene, there were these little signs on every table that were occupying this huge modular set, and it said, "Don't touch, just look, don't touch." And I think about the movie, and literally, and again, without giving the plot away, we could have cut and pasted Lionel into this movie. It truly resonated in terms of that sort of archaic way of play pattern and what kids are really used to today. So the transformation in terms of replication to imagination are very important to us, and really sort of the centerpiece, if you will, of the spirit of change that we need to have at Lionel relative to today's play pattern or today's product planning process and the product planning process that we are currently formulating going forward. We're prioritizing the digital platform for a lot of obvious reasons to you guys, but in the end, we weren't really on the front end of leveraging social media platforms, capturing customers and building relationships with them over the course of time. A lot of that's changed recently, but we want to learn more about our customers and be able to strike a dialogue and engage with them and strengthen the relationships with them and find those evangelists, because the type of business that we're in today, there are lots of evangelists out there. There are lots of folks who like to beat their chest about the modular sets they have. There are lots of kids who like to show off what they've been building around Lionel, and we need to have the ability to leverage that. But we also needed a sounding board on a digital platform to help us understand how we're traveling and what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong, and what kind of specific, boundless, sort of imaginative experience they would like they would like to see from Lionel. And so aside from the business modeling and the potential bridges that we can create between online and offline, we felt that the digital platform was not only a marketing vehicle for us, but also a sort of a centerpiece of information. It was a source of data that we really took back with us, and it helped us make a lot of other decisions that are now really flushing out a more aggressive digital strategy for us as a company. This is one of my favorite ads from the 60s from Lionel. Now, you know, if it doesn't kill, bite, scream, explode, conquer, destroy, or turn into a vampire, then what does it do, one would ask. And I have to say that during the 60s, Lionel was, I believe, the largest toy company in the country. So this is the message that truly resonated with the current sort of audience that Lionel is reaching out to, and growing significantly. When we think about a lot of the games that are built today, especially on console, I think it's sort of the antithesis of that. So the question then is, you know, how do you move from a sort of play pattern like this, being as adult as it is, but essentially that's really what Lionel represents today for the most part, to something like this, which is essentially a engaging, intensive, progressive, imaginative play experience that's very exciting play experience on a platform that kids are very, very adapted to. So we decided to use our digital sort of proof of concept and sort of tiptoe to the edge of Lionel's branding boundaries and see what we can sort of get away with. The sense of battle kind of goes a little against the grain of what Lionel represents today in terms of its positivity. It's nostalgic, it's family, it's warm, it's holiday. But this actually was sort of started as we started our research, but we were very anxious to get something out there on digital. But when we tested the concept of Battle Train, kids really resonated against it. Now nobody dies, there's no blood, because it's not the Lionel way. But we tested the concept, and it traveled very well. You know, we accomplished all the things that we wanted to accomplish in terms of customization and creativity and all of the high notes that we all look for in building a digital game. But we also wanted to capture a younger audience and be able to develop a relationship with them and understand what they're talking about and how they feel about Lionel and its digital presence and its proof of concept form. And we did. We captured a lot of folks. We communicate with them ongoing, and we end up developing a very strong relationship with them, and they become a sounding board for us to continue to ideate against products that we are going to build around the digital platform. So, you know, the process of making the game and improving the game comes as no surprise to any of us. We like all of us, launch. We gather our behavioral data. We identify the enhancements, which we've done on 7 or 8 iterations since the game has been out, several months. We refine those features, and we relaunch the game. And over the course of time, we look and understand what type of success we're having, and then look at the possibility of taking those assets and leveraging them onto other platforms, which we have plans to do. This is really part of our digital concept, is to also create a destination for Lionel, all things trains, if you will. So we felt like we didn't at the time have a solid social footprint, but we realized that there was so much cool content on trains. Somebody needed to aggregate that and own it in some way, and again, use it as a data source and a marketing vehicle. So think phase one of a potential, BuzzFeed or Cracked.com or a TechCrunch, where you have the center for, for content where people can go and categorically get the best, most shared content in one destination, branded by Lionel, and revisit it over and over again as curated content, which essentially we have a tool behind Lionel Tracks that scrolls and gives us, depending on how we program the panel, the most social, the most sought after content. And then we have a curator who literally goes through this content, adds video, photos, improves text, and then once we have the content right, we serve it up categorically into a front page where you can then socialize this content and share it. And we end up continuing to build our database. We also understand what people are looking for in the form of trains and really control the voice around trains. This essentially is phase one. We do have plans of putting a blogging center here, more proprietary content, live feeds, and make it a lot more sort of social. And this essentially will be a part of the new Lionel.com, which is in the process of being defined as we speak. The question then begs, in the bigger picture, in terms of Lionel, online and offline, we need to think very carefully about how our product plan is evolving. We don't want to create teleport tunnels in kids' bedrooms and try and sell them online. There's absolutely no context to Lionel, although the technology may be there, the brand foundation may not. And so we're very sensitive to creating a very thoughtful, sort of mindful path and bridge from where we are today to a place that could ultimately take us to an area where transportation isn't even a part of what Lionel may represent. Now that's a very radical statement, but I think by creating a new and fresh, solid foundation, contemporary foundation for a new brand voice, we then can really marry more of a progressive product plan that would methodically take us from core trains to more of a sort of broader definition for transportation, leveraging all of the platforms we have available to us, and then into a really imaginative sort of environment branded under Lionel that still carries the connective tissue and the sort of the attributes that make Lionel what Lionel is today: quality, authenticity, replication to some degree, but imagination, modularity. These are the things that have really anchored the brand for the last 114 years, and we'd like to think that we can carry a lot of those strong attributes into a more progressive product plan off the back of a lot of well thought out research and data to help us understand the type of relevance we can create with Lionel moving forward. So, just sort of thinking out loud, and this is just a sketch. It's not on the plan, but as we look at something like a battle train, we then think to ourselves, okay, we have a lot of data points related that could be associated with the sense of battle or battle trains, and so how can we extend that play experience to include different sort of offline products that may be more engaging to a younger audience, and so we can then start to think about what those extensions could be, and be able to get more aggressive in terms of our product planning process. The essence of our transition in terms of how we move forward into a more contemporary, more relevant brand really started with understanding what is essentially true to us as a brand, the authenticity, being precise, being solid, and moving into more of the imaginative, the open-ended, immersive, encouraging environment that kids love to play today, and then identify really the overlap on what keeps us true but keeps us progressive. And so those elements are really curiosity, modularity, adventurous, and fun, And we really need to take those overlapping characteristics and have them be sort of the driving force that creates the parameters for our new product planning process. You have to keep in mind here that we're just really sort of scratching the surface in terms of understanding what the 24 to 36 month picture will look like for us. Every time I come to Digital Kids, there's always a bunch of new shiny balls that everybody's looking at. It's like an arms race. I mean, you really can't keep track, and we need to keep an open mind in terms of where our product planning is going. So it does take time. This research that we did took almost a year. And initially I had a deck here that may have bored you to tears with some of the details around the studies and what really drove the direction of where we are today. The point really is that you can do analysis and paralysis by analysis, but I think we did just enough because Lionel is who it is today, and we need to be very sensitive with the fact that the brand has traveled, and traveled well, for 114 years. We needed to do our homework. We couldn't leave anything up for hunch, for guess, for intuition. We really needed to establish a fact-based pool of information to be able to drive us forward in the context of a more aggressive product plan. With digital really being in the forepart of our mind. The other thing that really gravitated me to Lionel, which is not in the deck, is in being in education technology for over 20 years. When I was approached to help with this project, I immediately felt that the education opportunities associated with Lionel and with the concept of trains were truly endless. And in my old alma mater at Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, they accosted me to do stuff with them in the form of STEM and the basic disciplines in classroom like math, reading, science. And so we have some really interesting dialogue going on now where we sort of have a very thin sort of track running along our other initiatives. And thinking about education as well. So that's all I have to say right now. Anything more, and I'd have to lock the door and keep you people here. But are there any questions or comments that you may have? That you guys should buy more trains. We should start there. Yes. So. The process that we're at right now is that we have identified conceptual play experiences through the research that we've done. We are now at a stage where we are crystallizing more on exactly what target audience we are looking at, and refining that demographic so that we can think about play concepts, actual play concepts. My intuition tells me that it will be young, but we have not determined that yet. Anything else? Thank you.